This cemetery worker said one funeral changed how he viewed his life, viewed how he treated his family, and also his time. And honestly, this is a message that I think a lot of everyday Christian believers need to sit with. So let's take a look at this. But before we get into it, please do me a quick favor by hitting that like button, subscribe if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends so that we can continue to be a blessing to each other. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I worked at a cemetery and I buried hundreds of people. And a lot stand out, but the one in particular, so one thing about Jewish culture, at least where I was working, is they want their people buried within 24 hours of them passing away. So when we get one of those calls, we know we got to dig quick and they'll be there soon. So if someone passes away at 12, if they can get the reservation in before 5, usually the person will be in the ground. So it's a quick turnaround. And as we were burying this one person, we were lowering the casket into the vault, because everything goes into a vault, and then we close the vault and then cover it up. And after we did it, this lady just stood by there screaming. And we see it all the time, but this was different, what she was saying. She was yelling out, "He was fine." She was yelling out, "He was fine. We were eating dinner yesterday. He was fine. He was fine." You know, and we wait normally till everyone leaves before we cover the vault up. But she wouldn't leave. And just hearing the screams, you know, from where we were sitting, being respectful, giving our distance, you know, "He was fine. He was eating dinner yesterday. He was fine." And I say that because some of you are taking for granted moments with people. And if you knew that it was a possibility that tomorrow they wouldn't even be around for dinner, even if you're not eating dinner with them, but nothing, I think you would live a little bit different.
Amen.
Because it doesn't come at the end of our life, we retire. This is a picture that's painted. We can envision it, you know, being old and falling. It's not like that. And maybe it's time to take it a little more seriously, the time you have with the people who matter.
Facts.
Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's ordering them a little gift, taking them out to dinner. These are things that will sit in your memory museum when they're not here anymore.
Amen.
I've been getting a lot of messages since I started posting about, you know, people not being in your life anymore. Didn't realize that so many people deal with it. I think working at a cemetery, I kind of just, I only dealt with it there. Don't take it for granted.
Man, this message really was heavy. And I'm going to leave a link to the original video in the description box down below for y'all to go check him out and also go support his channel. But, oh man, that stuck with me. That stuck with me because honestly, I could relate to that, because I felt like lately I've been taking certain family members for granted. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But I think his statement really, it hit deep. It really did. And it's especially the one line when he was talking about the woman at the graveside, literally just repeating, "He was fine. He was fine." Oh man, that brings me back to when my grandmother passed away when I was in college. And, you know, my mom was literally right there at that gravesite, and she wouldn't leave. And that was very sobering. This message is very sobering because it honestly reminds us how quickly life is it can just change at a moment. Somebody just eating dinner, then all of a sudden gone. You were probably making plans, probably trying to make vacation plans, sending text messages, going to work, laughing, crying, playing around. No, nothing. Then all of a sudden the next day, gone. And I think this is a clip something that I feel like a lot of people need to understand, especially everyday believers, because this hits different. We don't know the time, nor the hour, nor the place when it happens. It reminds us that we are not in control on how this is going to play out. but we ultimately know that God is in control. James chapter 4, verse 14 tells us, yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring, what your life will be, for you are like a vapor that appears for a little while, then vanishes. This verse right here is not to make anybody live scared. No, this is to make us live sober-minded, because a lot of us treat tomorrow like it's guaranteed. We treat tomorrow like it's just like, you know what, I'll just do it tomorrow. Don't worry about this. I'll forgive that person tomorrow. I'll forgive that family member tomorrow. Honestly, sometimes when my dad calls me every day, amen. And he calls me a lot, to the point that I pick up the phone and I'm just like, oh, Dad, again, you calling me? But then sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, he could be gone tomorrow. He could be gone tomorrow. So you better pick up that phone and be grateful that you can speak to him right now, because there's people that don't have their family members or don't have their loved ones to be able to speak to them. And I have to keep that in my mind. We treat tomorrow like it's guaranteed. The truth is, no one knows. None of us knows, according to this book, chapter, verse. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody. I'm not. I'm just saying that because we need a reminder that life is very fragile. Life is fleeting, and we're gone, and we're gone like vapors. 1 minute we're here and 1 minute we're not. So we can't get so comfortable in our routines that we forget how quickly life can shift for us. And I feel like it can shift, because 1 minute we're at home, or we're going to work, we're in our routines. You see the person that you're with all the time. I see my wife every day. I see my son every day. And sometimes I might take our morning routines for granted, because I'm trying to get out the door and I'm trying to go do this, or I'm trying to go do that. And then when I come back home, I take the nightly routines for granted, because it's just like, oh, it's just another day. It's just another, whatever. If we have a conversation, it goes great or it goes bad. And I'm just like, hey, I'll deal with it tomorrow. But when you hear a message like this, and you hear the woman sitting at the grave, literally saying he was fine, that hits you, because what if it's not fine? What if the tomorrow that you're thinking that will come, what if it's not promised? What if it's not going to be fine? What if that was the last conversation that you had with your spouse? What if that was the last dinner that you had with your significant other, or your loved one, or your family member, or even your friend? What if that was going to be the last hug that you were going to give to the person that you care about in life? How would you treat that? Let me know in the comment section down below. And again, I'm not trying to make this in order to make people paranoid. No, it's about living with perspective. Amen. It's about understanding how blessed we are that God has given us the opportunity to be here. And so therefore, we shouldn't take anything for granted. It allows us to talk to our spouses, allows us to talk to our mothers, our fathers, our siblings, our family members. And hearing messages like this, it should change our perspective on how we hold grudges, on how we interact with people, on how we harbor things so much, to the point that we get so prideful that we don't want to apologize. We don't want to go to that person and be like, I'm sorry, no matter if I was right or wrong, I'm sorry, because tomorrow is not promised. And messages like this should check us, rather than us just being like, we pick up that phone. Like I said, I pick up the phone and I see my dad call me. I'm just like, I'll call him later. I'll text that person later. Oh, this person got on my nerves. Oh, I'll forgive them later. And moments like this should check us, because it's the easiest thing to do, to get caught up in life and then get caught up in our emotions, get caught up in the things that we're doing, versus having the perspective to saying, you know what, are my things in order? Can I do better? And I'm going to be honest, this is the type of clip that really makes me think about my family, especially my wife and especially my son. I don't know how I would probably function without them. Like, I really don't. I even think about my mother, and I think about my dad. I don't know how I would have functioned without them. Like, I love my family. But we're supposed to be strong in our faith. And I understand that God will wipe away our tears, but that would definitely be something that would make me not function for a minute. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. Like, I'm strong in my faith, but at the same time, that's a different level of strength that I don't know if I have right now. And I'm just saying that in my flesh. Like, I just don't know how to respond to that type of pain, that type of anguish, that type of knowing good and well you just buried your loved one and you're not going to see them again. So I pray that this clip reminded us that we can't wait until tomorrow in order to value that person in your life right now. Psalms chapter 90, verse 12 says, "Teach us to number our days carefully so that we may develop wisdom in our hearts." This verse right here, it should be the entire point of this conversation, because Lord, you got to teach us to number our days. Not so that we can live in fear, not so that we can be paranoid about things or we obsess over death, but so that we can live wisely. I remember when I was young, I used to obsess over death. I used to obsess over it to the point that I was just so fearful of it. But I just had to live life, and I just had to live wisely. So we got to live better, man, because when our days are numbered, because we don't know the day, nor the hour, or the time, we got to stop wasting time on things that don't matter. We got to stop being prideful about things and letting that control us. We got to stop delaying the obedience to God, because a lot of us don't get that deathbed experience. A lot of us don't have the opportunity to get right with God at the final moment, like the thief on the cross. No, it just happens. So we shouldn't assume that we have all this time to get right with God, because we could also lose a family member just like this lady right there at the grave. And we're sitting there literally just saying to ourselves, we were just having dinner. Let this be a reminder to us that, am I right with God? Am I right with my family? Am I loving people properly? Am I forgiving? Am I using my time wisely? And am I living for God the way that He has entrusted it to be? So let me know in the comment section down below, when you hear stories like this, what does this make you think about your own life and what you can do better? I would like to have a conversation with you all down below. My name is Rod Brown, and I appreciate you all for watching. Until the next time, be blessed.